Alrighty, so the leash walking. Yesterday and the day before, you saw we were mostly just working on getting Pierre to sit in response to the leash pressure. Not totally there yet. But the reason that's important is if the dog is not calm while they're at your side like this, he's not going to be calm and he's not going to be paying attention to you while you're walking. So there's a couple different techniques and kind of a step-by-step way that I go about teaching the leash walking with a head halter specifically, with a choke chain or a prong collar or a slip collar. I do it a little bit differently just because the head halter takes a little more acclimating. But if you're worried about like a small dog choking themselves on a regular collar, then this works. Look at that nice attention. Yeah, let's go. So walk a couple steps and sit. And you see what I'm doing with my hands. I have a two-handed hold on the leash, like a thumbs up. I secure it like this, so if the dog pulls, my hand is secure, it's not going anywhere. If you hold it like this, it's very easy to accidentally let go of the leash. So always lock it with your thumb. And then my left hand, it's traditional for the dog to heel on the left side. Your dog on your left and then your horse on your right. So basically you can use your left hand to communicate with the dog, like, hey, slow down, let's go. You can do little kind of pulsing toggles on the leash if your dog is lagging behind, or if your dog is getting too far ahead, I'll show you some footwork things you can do. So let's go. You saw I passed in front of him to get him to yield out of my space a little bit. I popped to the left side. Yeah, he hasn't quite figured out this, oh good boy, this cause effect completely yet. But that lip licking is a good thing. That's a sign that they're sort of processing and thinking. So when you turn left into the dog, ideally they're going to yield space to you. If they don't, that's a sign that they're just totally not paying attention. They're off in la la land. So if a dog is, pretty new to this, I almost exclusively turn to the right. Then they're always following, They get a little too far ahead, I turn, and now they're behind me. So that's one thing you can do. Oh, and say he fights it a little bit, I'm just going to toggle, toggle, toggle. And by that I mean I'm just kind of pulsing with my hand and just being annoying until he's in the proper heel position. He's facing the wrong way, but whatever. This is not a dog show. As long as he is calm and at my side, that's the main criteria. And it's worth it to just as you're watching people go by on their daily walks or go to a coffee shop or something, just up on the leash, sit. Up on the leash, sit. And then your dog will learn to ignore distractions and just be like, all right, well, I guess I'm sitting here for the foreseeable future. His tendency is to freeze. So in response to new stimuli, dogs can do a couple things: fight, flight, avoid, or accept. Can't force acceptance, that just comes through time and practice. So he tends to freeze, sometimes fight. That would look like pawing at the nose, trying to roll over. And he just tends to do nothing or freeze. He's like, nope, I'm just gonna stay here, and he does my boogers. Yuck. Let's go. So it's pop to the side and then turn left. That'll get him to yield out of your space and pay attention to where you're going. In terms of the footwork, step with your right foot, plant it, and then you go with your left. You can also turn completely around, then the dog's behind you, sit. And if your dog is really like fighting the head collar, then typically that means you need to go back to step one and teach them, okay, this is what you do in response to pressure on the nose. I just want you to sit or lay down. It really doesn't matter. The idea is calm. I don't really care about the body position. So you saw how I had my two-handed hold, and then I slid my left hand down the leash like that. And now I'm just holding it taut until he figures out that he can sit to relieve the pressure. So you can have a one-handed hold like this as well. But you want it to be a length that is tight enough that if he gets out of position, the leash will be tight. And then if he's where he's supposed to be, doing what he's supposed to do, then the leash is loose. The whole idea is that this area right here is the safe zone. There's pressure everywhere else in the world, but at your side. And that's what creates the reliability. If you have a dog who's very nervous, often they won't take food. So this pressure on, pressure off stuff works very well. And then conversely, if you have a dog who's really happy about food, then sometimes that just leads to overexcitement because they're like, oh my God, food, 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 food. And their brain is not really working. They're just following the food. So there's reasons why I take a different approach with every dog. This one, I highly doubt he would take food right now because he's just annoyed with me. So I'll help him out because he's not figuring it out. Let's work on this a little bit. Sit. Good. Let's go. The other thing to note too, when you're walking in this very controlled way, you need to have clear windows when you're heeling, when the dog is expected to walk nicely at your side, and when it's time for them to sniff and go potty. Let's go. So I would say like, go at the pace that your dog is able to do. Like if you can get 4 nice steps and then you pause, you do 4 steps at a time, pause, 4 steps at a time, pause. A little cut on his noggin. Let's go. But I would say a minimum, give your dog a break every city block or so. Oh, and the footwork for the right turn is going to be, oh, see, a little bit of fight, pressure on, and then pressure off. So offended. Let's go. He's just not used to problem solving, but he'll figure it out. Come on. Good. Let's go. And make sure you have a clear criteria too. So like if I was kind of walking like this and he was constantly a little bit tight on the leash, I'm doing the work for him. You want him to be paying attention and be able to have your leash totally loose because the dog is doing the work. If you're holding the dog in place and the dog is not paying attention. Sit. Let's go. Sit. Let's go. It's like learning a language. Some people learn best through just rote memorization, And I am one of those people. This is one of those dogs that you just need to show them over and over and over again, and then eventually it just clicks. Some dogs, they just pick up languages just like that. They kind of just do it through context. But then when it comes to doing things over and over again, they may have less patience. So it helps to have a lot of tools in your tool bag. You're getting grass in your feet. Let's go. And I was talking about this last night, creating a following mindset. That is the whole point of leash walking, getting the dog to learn how to follow you and take direction from you. I was talking to someone on the phone yesterday and explaining how, if you think about how dogs hunt, they go, they're trotting along, they're walking along for a long time, and then they go and they eat. They're following the leader of the pack, and then they hunt and eat the food, whatever. So you're kind of replicating that with your walk. You're going somewhere, you have a mission, and everyone's following in formation, and then you come home and eat some breakfast or some dinner. So there, when he lags behind, I'm just toggling. And if you have to walk into the dog, like if he was paying attention, I wouldn't have walked into him. Let's go. There you go, he fixed it. He made it so he didn't he didn't run into my knee. Let's go. Sit. Good. Let's go.